At the 12th WTO Ministerial Conference, which was in Geneva, Switzerland, in June last year, Nigeria joined WTO to adopt the agreement on fisheries subsidies after over 20 years of negotiations, which Nigeria actively participated. The agreement sets new global rules to curb harmful subsidies and protect global fish stocks for all those who rely on it for their livelihood and food security, in a manner that also recognizes the needs of developing and least developed countries. Well, let's find out what this means to Nigeria and what benefits it could bring to the table, especially at this time when the country is looking for every available platform to bring in revenue. Well, to discuss this, we have Mr. Paul Chukuyem. He's Adjunct Anchor, Trade, Investment, Competitiveness Policy Commission at the NESG. Joins us from our Abuja studio. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Chukuyem.
Thank you so much, Minnie.
Yeah. So, first of all, we saw that as of 2018, the UNCTAD had held that 90% of the world's marine fish stocks are likely fully exploited, overexploited, or depleted. Now, this is worrying. I do know, like, in a country like Nigeria, we see a lot of visuals coming from the Niger Delta, what the crude oil activities is doing to the waters and the fishes. But I mean, up to 90% exploited, it is a major source of worry for a lot of people.
Yes, it is. Though I couldn't hear your last words, Ini, but I know you are tilting to. It's a very serious source of worry to Nigeria and to other developing countries in Africa, even within the ECOWAS region. So 90% of our fishery resources have been depleted. It's a very serious issue. And to make it very serious is the fact that this depletion has resulted from activities of thieves. I would just say thieves, for instance, because there are individuals who come to our waters, to catch our fish, and then these guys have big trawlers. They have enough resources to mine our fish, and then sometimes they get away without being caught, And these individuals are the ones that have caused this huge depletion in the resources, in the fish resources in the region, especially in Nigeria. According to the Trawlers Association, there are about 200 trawlers, in Nigeria. These guys will go to the river, go to the ocean to catch fish, and they cannot get fish because some huge folks from Europe, from Asia, they're in our waters, harvesting this fish. So having the signing fishery agreement by Nigeria, it's a step in the right direction.
So where does this agreement come in helping with all of this? What benefits can accrue to the country, Nigeria, from this agreement signed?
Yes, there are several benefits that can accrue to the country for this agreement signed. One of them is that it will help us to reduce the loss we get from about $70 million is lost per annum from IEU. Unreported, unregulated fishing. So the country loses so much money from this source. And then again, it will also help us to develop our fishery sectors, to have a sustainable fishery sector. Because if we do not have such sector, of course, we will not get the nutrition that comes from fishing. Because we know what fish does for our body. In fact, some persons even enjoy eating fish than meat. So if we allow these guys to come to our waters to catch fish, even without licenses, then it surely means that a lot of persons will not have the required fish. So it will affect our own food security in Nigeria, even within the region as well. So signing the agreement, of course, is the best that Nigeria has done so to speak. Although there are also some other, costs to it, because signed agreement means that you will not give subsidies to your own fishermen. The developed countries now, it's agreed in the text of the agreement that they will not give subsidies to their fishermen. You know, because those subsidies are given them has enabled them to even come to our region to mine fish. So signed agreement means that in the future, we as a country too will likely not give subsidies to our own fishermen. Subsidies can only be given on the ground that we want to regenerate the fish in our oceans or in our waters. To rebuild it, of course, you can give subsidies. But if you choose to also sign an agreement, it means that in the future, you will give subsidies to your own fishermen. So that's the negative side of the agreement. But the beautiful side is, signed agreement means that these big guys who come to our waters to catch fish, of course, they'll have to reduce it.
Yeah, but you know, signing the agreements, the uncountable agreements that Nigeria has signed to, which we may not really be feeling the impact. So signing the agreement is one thing, but how active and regulated and intentional is Nigeria's fish sector? I don't know if you call it a sector or industry. How intentional are they? How much attention do they have? Who are the fishermen? How much interaction do they have with policymakers? I guess this is how it will trickle down. If not, it's just an agreement on paper that nothing will be done about.
Yeah, you are very correct, Idni. Well, we have the Federal Fisheries Department that is responsible for ensuring that the policies within the space is obeyed. It is up to the Fisheries Department to work with the fishermen to see that, you know, they seek out this agreement. And then again, we will encourage government that please call the state government meeting to involve the fishermen, ask them of the challenges they're passing through. You know, ask them of the problems and everything, so that they'll be able to, be able to fish. Because this fish is so important to us. Now, let me give you some statistics here. Fish production in Nigeria is around, the share of fish production to total fish production in Africa, in just say regions, is around 10%. It's around 10%. And we can increase that, you know? And then again, our fish production is actually growing, but it should grow more than what we're seeing now. You know, so we're encouraging the government to please work with work with these stakeholders, several stakeholders, the fishermen, owners of trawlers, help them to see how they can improve fish production. A lot of them are not able to fish. Do you understand? The agreement has made it possible that at least within 2 years before the agreement comes to life, our government can support these fishermen. And it's possible, So it depends on the government working together with fishermen to see that, yes, the agreements are implemented and whatever you have, whatever issues are settled. We know there's a voluntary fishing mechanism now, mechanism that the WTO has approved. Just within last week we had a new mechanism to support countries who are willing to implement the agreement. So the Nigerian government too, can key into such funding mechanism to see how we can improve fishing within our region or in our country.
Yeah, so the report says that Nigeria loses about $70 million, to illegal and unreported fishing and all of that. That gives us...
Hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Nee.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, great. So I was saying that They say that Nigeria loses about $70 million to illegal fishing. So that gives us an idea of some potential. But how do we now balance that with the crude oil activities? Because a lot of the riverine areas in the Niger Delta, there's crude oil, and we see what happens to the waters there. How can the country balance these two activities?
Okay, so you mean the crude oil activities and the fishing activities? Can you repeat? Can you say that again?
Yes, that's what I mean.
Okay, the crude oil and the fishing activities. Oh, well, if we want to catch more fish, we have to reduce activities coming from crude oil activities. Because, of course, we know if you have oil spills, for instance, that affect our waters. You know, so I mean, the oil spill agency that we have should keep up. I mean, should work to the tax, because we cannot. The subsidy the subsidy agreements as much as possible that these big guys cannot come in here to fish. You know, and then again, within our home, we also have problems, and the problem is we have spills. With spills, we can't produce fish. And you know how much this affects our rivers or our oceans. Because when we spill these things, we lose fish. And our fishermen cannot go to the rivers, to harvest fish. And even if they harvest dead fish, you and I know we can't eat dead fish. So the point is, we have to improve that end. We have to ensure that these spills are eliminated, and our fishermen can return to the rivers, to the oceans to fish. Without that, we cannot have sustainable fishing. So it is very important.
Chukuyem, thank you so much for your time this morning. Adjunct Anchor Trade, Investment, Competitiveness, Policy Commission of the NESG. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.